Previously, in the last episode, we all saw that the three masters of the 6 schools of martial arts moved forward together to attack. They believed that Xian's entire Kai had been exhausted at this moment. But as soon as all these people reached near Xian, an even more dangerous energy began to emerge from within him. Seeing this, all of them became extremely terrified. As soon as Linwook saw this terrifying energy emerging from within Yan, he was greatly shocked and exclaimed, "This is completely impossible. How is he still able to release such a dangerous energy from within himself?" Qian had already formed swords in both of his hands. Seeing this, Linwook said, "Was this his plan from the beginning? Did he lure us in with greed just to trap us?" Seeing Qian, Dokyo became extremely furious, clenched his teeth, and said, "I cannot retreat from here now. If that's the case, then fine. I will use this to finish him." He prepared himself to use the Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art First Technique, Ultimate Sword Mastery, along with the 6th technique, Dragon Ascension. Dokang and Wukong both directly attacked Qian, while on the other side, Qian was also fully prepared to counter them. Qian used his heavenly demonic sword art, which advanced toward Yan. He said to Yan, "This is revenge, Bakyo." After this, Dokang and Wukong's swords clashed directly with Qian's sword. Meanwhile, Linwook, who was still advancing toward Qian, shouted his name loudly and prepared to attack with his technique Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art 7th Technique, Ultimate Delightful Murder Sword, directly at Qian. At that moment, Qian was shown using the Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art 2nd Technique to counter him. The ultimate sword form directly struck Qian's sword, which then hit Linwook. But because the Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art belonged to the 6 schools of martial arts, Linwook was completely shocked upon seeing this technique. On the other side, Dokang's eyes widened in disbelief as he thought to himself, "This is completely impossible. How is he able to use the Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art?" After this, it was shown that Qian had stopped both Dokang and Wukong on one side while restraining Linwook on the other. The pressure of this technique was so immense that all the people standing below started facing extreme difficulties due to its force. Seeing the pressure of this technique, Wang said, "What an incredibly powerful shockwave." After this, another person was shown thinking to himself, "He is dealing with 2 techniques at the same time, each of which is difficult to handle alone." Namgun was shown still holding his arm, gritting his teeth, unable to do anything but watch. The energy of this fight was increasing to such an extent that its effects were clearly visible in the surrounding area. Gradually, everything around was being completely destroyed. As soon as Dokang saw Qian's flames, he exclaimed, "What are these black flames? What kind of flames are these? Even my 3 divine fires are being completely overpowered by them." On the other side, Wukong, who was still standing in front of Qian, was finding it extremely difficult to remain there. Then, Linwook was shown thinking to himself, "His technique is far superior to mine, but the Supreme Saver Divine Martial Art is taught only to the high elders of the 6 schools of martial art sect. So, why does he have this technique? And this black ice blade, it is completely freezing everything in its path. It is even freezing my heart. I don't know if I will be able to survive his next attack if this continues. However, if I put everything into this attack, the power balance will be completely disrupted." Looking at Qian, he thought, "Damn it, I believed that if we all worked together, we would surely be able to defeat him. I never even imagined that someone in the life and death realm could be this much more powerful than us." After this, Qian was shown immediately turning towards Wukong, looking at him and laughing while saying, "Yes, I think this will work very well on you." Wukong had no idea what he meant by this. Qian instantly struck Linwook's face with his foot, causing blood to spill from Linwook's mouth. Qian then advanced straight towards Wukong to attack him. On the other side, Wukong thought to himself, "No matter how much I try, I cannot escape from this." At that moment, Qian immediately plunged his sword into Wukong's shoulder. Just as Qian's sword struck Wukong's shoulder, before Wukong could even comprehend what was happening, his body began to burn, and in one swift motion, Qian sliced his body into 2 halves. Before 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 could even realize it, his body had been split into 2 pieces. It was cut into 2 pieces, and his body started falling down, which means that one's job was completely finished. So as soon as Kwang sees this scene, he gets extremely angry and starts saying in his mind, "You demon cult's demon, you first completely froze his body at one point, and after that you completely cut it apart." Cheon immediately attacks Kwang as well and starts saying to him, "Do you really think this is the right time? In the middle of a fight? Can you afford to be distracted like this?" So Kwang immediately notices this. He starts stopping John's song. But John does not stop there. He picks up his sword again. Before Kwang could do anything, Cheon directly thrusts his sword into his leg. As soon as Kwang sees the sword, he starts saying, "I am not able to stop this black flame at all." Kwang has no other option left, so he immediately moves back from Cheon and, at the same time, starts saying in his mind, "This is not going to work at all. We cannot defeat this demon. I have to retreat from here. Now that we have already completely failed in our mission once, I don't think we should repeat this mistake again." On the other hand, 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 was still fighting Cheon. Seeing this, Wang starts saying, "I think, Master, this is the right time. We should do it." As soon as 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 hears his words, he starts saying, "Flame Sect Leader, what exactly is he talking about?" Just then, both Kwang and 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 come down. At the same time, Cheon is also shown on the other side. He had also come down, but Cheon's entire attention was still on those 2 people. At that moment, as soon as 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 looks in front of him, he is completely shocked to see something. The Flame Blade Sect leader starts telling him to stop, but on the other hand, the Flame Blade Sect leader, meaning Kwang, was fully prepared to fight Cheon, even if he could see his death right in front of him. He uses one of his techniques, the Supreme Divine Martial Arts 7th technique, the Flight of 8 Immortal Swords. Using this technique, he directly attacks Cheon. His sword had reached very close to Cheon. At that moment, as soon as Cheon sees that his sword has reached very close, he also immediately gets ready to attack him, and in a single instant, he thrusts his sword straight through his chest. Seeing this technique, Kwang starts saying in his mind, so he already knows the Supreme Saber Divine martial art. He identified the weakness of this technique in order to dodge it, which is why he was able to dodge it so easily. After this, Cheon is shown, whose entire face was completely covered in blood, and he was still staring at Kwang. Kwang's sword falls from his hand, and he starts saying in his mind, "But no problem. If I die, I will take him with me as well." Then Kwang immediately grabs Cheon. Cheon does not understand anything about what he is trying to do, but, on the other hand, Kwang, whose muscles had suddenly swelled up completely, and whose body still had Cheon's sword pierced into it, starts shouting at Cheon, saying, "Cult leader, just as I thought, you did exactly that. If I die, I will take you with me as well." Then Kwang shouts loudly and tells all the people of the 6 schools of martial art, "The fight is completely over, so everyone scatter." 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 was completely stunned after seeing this scene and starts saying in his mind, "Flame Blade Leader, why are you doing this?" But on the other side, Kwang was saying in his mind, "We did everything we could. One of us has to stay alive so that the Blade Master can be informed about all this." 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 was filled with extreme anger, and gritting his teeth, he started saying, "So in the end, things had to go this way." Then he immediately turns back from there and starts saying in his mind, "We will have to come back here with another good plan." 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 immediately starts running away from there, leaving his people behind, and starts telling all his people, "Everyone, save your lives and run away quickly." After this, Shadow Master and Flame Master are shown. Both of them start saying in their minds, "We cannot let him escape so easily. This is so pathetic." After that, all the people of the 6 schools of martial art, without any plan, start attacking everyone. Seeing this, MZ and the Red Uniform Guard immediately cut off one person's hands and legs and start saying, "No one should escape alive from here." But even after getting their hands and legs cut off, none of them stop. So the Red Uniform Guard starts saying, until their throats are cut, they will keep moving like this. After this, 𝗰𝗁𝗽𝗁 is shown running away. Shadow Master and Flame Emperor both start chasing him and say, "Do you think you can escape from here so easily?" As soon as Shadow Master moves forward towards him, before he can do anything, he is shocked to see something in front of him, because some people from the 6 schools of martial art had arrived and started blocking Shadow Master's way. This gives 𝗰𝗵𝗽𝗁 a chance, and he successfully escapes from there. After this, Cheon and Kwang are shown. Kwang was still holding on to Cheon very tightly, but then Kwang's body is shown up close, which was trembling completely, and he was sweating profusely. Then he starts saying in his mind, "What kind of nonsense is this?" This was because Cheon had very easily severed his hand. Seeing this, Kwang starts saying, "It feels as if the muscles in my hand have completely torn apart, but even now, I am much more powerful than a normal martial artist." He was still thinking this when suddenly Cheon lands a punch right on his jaw. Seeing this, Kwang starts saying, "I can't even free my hand from his grip. How can a normal person have such an incredibly strong hold?" Hey. But after this, Yeon does not give Kwang any chance to recover at all. Then Yeon's dangerous look is shown, and with this look, this episode comes to an end. Everyone, quickly like the video. I will see you in the next part.